the starlit sky, algorithms roam. In the heart of the city, AI calls home. With circuits and codes, it dreams through the night. Guiding us all with its digital light. Oh, late night wonders in the glow of the screen. Artificial intelligence in every scene. From dawn till dusk, it learns future flow. Under the starlit sky, algorithms roam. In the heart of the city, AI calls home. With circuits and codes, it dreams through the night, dreams through the night.
Hello and welcome from Berlin, live streaming from the Code University here in Berlin from Global AI Bootcamp Berlin 2025. Markus and I, we are here and doing a live stream for the next 30 minutes about our experience on this nice event here.
Absolutely, it's totally amazing. I'd never been to this building. It is also totally new, and you can see what's being done for the students here. It's a private university, but it does the usual bachelor and master stuff. And while we won't advertise today, maybe we will advertise because it looks like a nice place to learn, and it looks like a lot of young people are here, very enthusiastic. I mean, now they're all having pizza and beer because it's the break. But there'll be more sessions coming, and people will definitely stay, and they are very interested.
Yeah, I talked to Florian from the Code University earlier this day.
Yeah.
And he taught me several stuff about the Code University. It's when you enter here, it's a really innovative feeling, and this is something that the university is built about. So it's not only about learning stuff about the AI, but really doing it. And they are connected with startups or give you creativity that you can create startups here.
Actually, the rooms look totally like WeWork. So it seems like when they start working for a startup and they move to WeWork, they'll be accommodated from the first day. Just like in university. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and the event itself, great event and a great event location. And they told me that on May 23rd, they have a demo day here where all the groups and students are involved in some startups or whatever, doing their demos, and I will be there. That is really interesting to see a really good spirit here. I really like that.
And you can see, you get yourself a room, you put up a sign, and then you have your first company in that room, and they're sitting there working together. Now they're probably having beer and pizza, but no, actually some of them are really still working. It's a nice spirit.
The best room, every room has a name. Is our guest right now, she was in the dark matter room. Yeah. But there's another room, it's called Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer. Very, very nice, very nice.
We could even sing it.
Yeah, okay. The event itself, it's the Global AI Azure Bootcamp here in Berlin with several interesting tracks about AI in different flavors. You have attended one?
Absolutely.
What was your?
Absolutely. I must say I'm totally surprised that a lot of Microsoft topics are pretty hot here, and that young people come to listen to this boring Microsoft stuff. Yeah. And
it's not boring.
I know it's not boring, but tell the young people that it's not boring. They always get to that open source stuff and try that out, and Microsoft to them seems to be the dark side, you know?
Yeah.
And no, it got much better. Most people were interested in Microsoft topics as well. And then we have this, it's also, if you are inside the Microsoft universe, it's also pretty open because they started with Copilot in M365, which is basically something that everyone can do. Yeah. And they went to pretty amazing development stuff with semantic kernel, which is what I listened to last. So from the nerd, who you are supposed to find here, there should be nerds here, otherwise something would be wrong, from the nerd to the end users, basically everyone gets something here. That's amazing. Yeah. With Microsoft stuff.
And as you started to talk about Microsoft's Copilot, I think it's a good idea to get our guest.
Yeah.
Tanya.
Hi.
Hello, Tanya.
I thought you'd just say, as you're starting to talk about nerds, let's introduce
Tanya, please introduce yourself. You're from Austria, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so please introduce yourself. Just separate.
Thank you, Michele. I'm I'm Tanja, I'm from Austria, but actually I'm living in Bonn since 5 or 6 years. So I'm also coming from Bonn today to Berlin, and I'm an M365 solution consultant working for Comunado here in Germany.
Yeah. And you had a workshop here. Some of the longer sessions, normally the session was 30 minutes, yours was 75 minutes, right?
I think it was actually 90 minutes.
90. Whoa.
Because we had some Wi-Fi problems and then we extended the session. Yeah.
And the dark matter room was quite full, I think. There were a lot of people there. And you, what was your topic? You were talking about Microsoft 365 Copilot.
Yeah, I think the session name actually was Build Your Own Intranet Agents in Minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
90 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 90 minutes it's
It
possible.
took us 90 minutes, yeah, that's right.
Great.
Yeah.
And I thought, I saw a lot of people were after the session came to you and have questions. So it was very interesting. See?
Yeah, you're right. I got a lot of questions. I think one of the most interesting parts was that it was outside of my normal bubble, the workshop.
Yeah.
Because people here are not coming from the M365 world in
Right.
which we're living in,
Yeah.
or from the M365 bubble. So I assumed when I came today, there were people who already are familiar with the use of Copilot or SharePoint.
Yeah.
But actually, the start of our workshop was to explain how a SharePoint hub works
Yeah.
and why I use it as a knowledge source in Copilot Studio, which was also very nice to explain because, I love all that stuff and also love to talk about basics. But yeah, it was a little bit new to me.
Yeah.
And I really liked it.
But about your topic, intranets with this Copilot.
Yeah.
Give us some impression about that. How do you do that?
Yeah, we mainly talked about Copilot Studio, so about the possibility to extend your Copilot chat, your Copilot Biz chat, so the free one and the licensed one. With agents you build in Copilot Studio, you have the extensibility in Copilot Studio and you can build your custom engine agents, which are basically using different kind of databases, and in my case I'm using SharePoint Online as an intranet source, not as an intranet source, but SharePoint Online as intranet, as a knowledge source. So I'm combining all the capabilities, all the functions from Copilot Studio with SharePoint Online content, pages, news, documents coming from the IT department, from the HR department. So I think the most used prompt today from my side was, what is our password policy? Because people don't want to
Remember.
search through the intranet, and they don't want to search through the navigation in the intranet. Actually, the new generation, I would say, that's coming to our working market wants to prompt. So people don't want to look into the intranet, they just want to prompt what is our password policy and get the right information in return. And Copilot can do that, of course, our M365 Copilot, but by building agents, you are more specific to the site collection. So the knowledge is
Focused, right?
Focused.
focused.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. So you build smaller racks, retrieval augmented generation, all that stuff, and the answers are way better.
Yeah. Does it also have this limitation of 20 files, which I heard of?
No, it doesn't have that
This
limitation.
this
of
one
20
doesn't.
files.
Because when you build this agents in SharePoint, then
Yeah.
you only have 20 files.
No, it's not 20 files,
20
it's 20
items.
sources.
20 items,
Yeah,
not
you're
25.
completely right. It could be 20 hubs, actually.
Yeah.
It's just 20 lines you can
Yeah,
add.
yeah.
So there is actually no
I'm stuck
limitation.
between SharePoint specialists.
Sorry. No.
Okay, 20 hubs. Okay, I see.
So there is no real limitation.
Ah,
to that.
Cool. If you know what a hub is, it's not a real
You
limitation.
could also use 20
Yeah.
websites.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
SharePoint
that's
Online.
amazing. Ah, okay.
Yeah, and you can start as a user of Microsoft 365 Copilot in SharePoint. You can use with a web front end just to create your own agents through the web end with 3 or 4 mouse clicks.
Yeah.
And then you have your own agents focused on the topic, on specific documents.
Yeah, right.
But what you cannot do, and how complicated is it to the next step, go to Copilot Studio and do that. Is it something that for the end user might be a good term, or is it really you need to have experience
I
there?
also talked about that today in my workshop.
Yeah.
So the editors, the people who configure these kind of agents in SharePoint Online, I think it's the editors, people who have editing rights in SharePoint Online, who are familiar to build news and pages directly in SharePoint Online. But it's different in Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio is a part of the Power Platform. If you ever wanted people to do something in the Power Platform, you will experience that it's not that easy if people are outside from the IT department.
Even low code is too high.
I am not a coder, but I really always get to the point where I say, okay, I can't do my clicky bunty in here. I need some code. Maybe I should ask Copilot to write some code here directly in the Power Platform, because there are pre-configured elements, actions, and all that stuff, and triggers. But when it comes to building variables and all that stuff, it really gets complicated. And but actually, Copilot Studio is pretty easy, I would say. It has a nice interface, and I think Microsoft really spent a lot of effort into building Copilot Studio so that everyone can use it, but you need to be a citizen developer. That's the Microsoft word for people who are working in the Power Platform, to understand what are triggers and actions and all that stuff.
Developers.
Citizen developers.
In the keynote, they played the old clip from Steve Ballmer.
Did they?
Yeah, developers.
You must have
Because
loved it.
we are in the code university and developers, so it's also.
Right.
When you showed your internet solution, is it something you have already implemented with customers several times?
Actually, to be really honest, most of the agents I build right now are intranet agents.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a retrieval agent. It gets just information and gives something back. I think there are a lot of customers who still struggle with workers' councils, with data security, Betriebsrat and all that stuff. So it's easy to explain retrieval agents to them. And the next step is to go into the direction of autonomous agents and agents who are really doing actions. And I don't have a lot of customers who are actually doing that. And when they're doing it, they're using Power Automate.
Yeah,
because
of course.
when you do process optimization, until now it was Power Automate. And we also have the AI builder possibilities there, the AI builder to use that in the Power Platform. But right now, so 4 years ago, when I started at Comunado, I began to build a lot of intranets, and all the customers I built intranets with are now coming to me again to build SharePoint Online agents, which I really like, of course, because they're bringing their intranet into the next step, into the area of AI, and I think this is really low-hanging fruit. So I think I don't have a customer who is not interested in SharePoint Online agents right now. So this is the lowest hanging fruit.
So and everything is based on SharePoint. Let me play a clip I have prepared for that. Where is it?
He does that all the time.
With over 2 million sites and 2 billion files created each and every day, SharePoint is the largest and most flexible content platform.
Yeah, this was Jeff Cheaper, the father of SharePoint. He's always talking about the 2 million documents that are created in SharePoint every single day. So there's a lot of information in these documents, and even customers who are working with Microsoft 365 have in the backend their SharePoint sites with document libraries in Teams, in projects, and whatever. And with the Copilot agent and with what you're doing with the Copilot Studio, this is the first step where we can dig into these resources, grab them, and work with them and with AI and with Copilot, and get the transform it into really knowledge and really actionable knowledge, that we can do something with that.
Yeah, you're right.
If you want to do that, do you do some clean up before you start with that? Because I know SharePoint libraries are sometimes a mess, or often a mess. Have you any back presses?
I built a slide for today where I also talked about cleaning up intranets, because you have your news articles in there, even though you did some cleanup for the documents and the pages. So for the normal pages, you still have your news in there that are not deleted. And until 1 year ago, I told all my customers, you don't have to delete news because they are just there, they're in the library. Maybe you can see them if you use the search, but they will be, I don't know, somewhere down there in the search results. But now Copilot is using these old news articles as a knowledge source. Of course, if you just published your benefits from the HR department from 4 years ago in a news article, he will use that, or it will use that as a knowledge source. You have to get rid of these old news articles, because otherwise the results of your prompts will not be good, because there is competitive data in your SharePoints, and that's why I just today built a an overview. Maybe you could do some kind of a news archive, so an own site collection with a Power Automate flow, with a cleaning up flow that deletes, or not deletes, that moves news articles on a regular basis into this kind of archive that people can still use for knowledge stuff and that knowledge, but to search through news. But I wouldn't use that as knowledge source for Copilot.
And can you tell the SharePoint agent not to go into that folder? And
Yeah, you can configure it like that. The SharePoint Online agents and also the custom engine agents in Copilot Studio. You can't configure the Copilot to not search through the site collection. I mean, there's the restricted SharePoint search or something like that. There's a functionality. But if you enable that, people will also not find the news when they are using the search.
The search is
the search is also
that's a
gone.
problem.
So I wouldn't recommend doing that. I would recommend having these news articles still in the search and just don't use the site collection as knowledge source for your agents.
Are there any tools that can help you to find these irrelevant documents, whatever? It's hard to say. Or is it really, okay, go into your library, look up what's in the folder there, is it okay or not, whatever?
I think you have to do some optimization to use a Power Automate flow that searches through the date, maybe inform the creator of the news article, kind of archive that. Do you still use it or do you still need it? Something like that. So classic governance stuff. I don't know if there's a tool for that.
But that would be impossible. I mean, you mentioned the example of old benefits that are no longer valid in this form. Who is supposed to know this? I mean, who knows that there are new later benefits, that the benefits have been changed? There might be other documents that are pretty old. If I look at my intranet, there are some documents that are very, very old, but they still contain the only valid source of information.
Right.
So you have to check manually, does this apply now or maybe not?
Yeah, maybe you could use the approvals app and do the approvals of a Power Automate and I don't know, put something like a new metadata in there with a new renewal or something like that. And if someone approves this is still valid, maybe there's a check mark or something like that. You can do that with Power Automate and approval. Maybe that's a good way to do that. We also implemented that with a customer. We built a knowledge, business management, knowledge management platform based on SharePoint Online. And there we have something like that. We have a solution based on Power Automate where we always check the sites and when they are, or the pages, and when they are too old, the editors will get a notification directly in Teams and can confirm this is still a valid information.
So it's human feedback you're collecting with that one. So
and you need that. You can't automate it because if the benefits are still valid, you should delete them.
But it's definitely necessary because if you have bad data, you get bad results.
But there you see, but you see, I mean, it's funny that these SharePoint agents are also extremely popular. Why are they popular? Because it's a limitation. Because you can limit the data that the agent is using. Compared to the M365, where they basically find everything, and that most presumably there is shit around there somewhere, and it will be found. If you restrict it, if you actually make sure. These are the documents that I want to be valid. I put them there and I give them to the agent, and then you make sure that everything works. That's the best way to do it. So the limitation is something that was very important for people. Most people that just try out M365 Copilot, they say, well, it doesn't find anything useful. Well, because it has everything and doesn't know what it's used for.
I mean, there's another thing I would. Maybe someone from Microsoft is listening today. It's on my wish list. Maybe we could mark content in SharePoint Online that is used from an agent, or that I can do something in the instruction that says, please use the metadata valid or important for AI, or the searchable for AI. And then I can mark all that stuff that should be used from Copilot and all that stuff, and just put into the instruction of the agents, please only use files, pages, news that are marked as valid for AI. But right now we can't use the metadata columns. Unfortunately not.
I think maybe it will come when they implemented the AI access with Copilot for the SharePoint lists, because it is still missing, right? So I think it might be very complicated to do that because it's
Definitely is complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this is a problem with tables in general. Yeah, and I've been struggling with the Copilot for Excel for a long time because it really does not know how to handle tables. And so, how do you work with a Copilot that doesn't know about tables? And so they are problematic for many reasons, but it's slowly getting better.
But as we are talking about SharePoint, I like to talk about SharePoint.
Yeah. There you go.
Because
I can go outside. I can
no,
do a beer.
I definitely, because over years I've worked a lot of with SharePoint, but in the last years it really gets bad. But now really discovering, hey, is a really good source for our knowledge. And when you see what's happening on the front end, as I see, we have these new add-on for creating pages based on a prompt. That is great stuff, right? Have you ever tried it?
Love that. Yeah, we can now build pages and news based on prompts and based on files, especially.
Yeah.
So if you have something like policies, you just want to create a page out of your policies. Let's say out of the password policy, you don't have to build the page on your own and do copy paste from Word. You just say create a new page based on this document, and now in seconds. No, I think it's 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah,
honest,
yeah.
but it's still in preview. It takes its time, but it just builds the right information and the right page. I really like that.
But it does that. It does copy and paste. So the information after that is in the page.
Actually, it's a large language model, so it's still interpreting some stuff. It's not actually the same thing.
No. But what I'm saying is, it afterwards the information is stored in the page. It's not like it stays in the Word document, and if you ever change the Word document, your page will also.
It's just text web parts
Yeah,
on the page.
right.
Yeah.
And you have the ability to create a prompt. You don't have to say, take this one and make a page of it, but you can take this one, focus on that one, make it that one, that output, and so. And you have really the ability to give some instructions how you want the page to be created, what will be based on that, and that's really cool. And that is, I think it's a problem, because when you're working with a SharePoint agent, you get the results. And normally you get it maybe in the side pane. What do you do with the pane? Maybe you want to share with others. So where's a button you can make automatically, like in the chat, publish it to a Copilot loop page.
You're right.
And this is a problem. And when you now have the ability, here's maybe a PDF, create a page. The page is there, and everyone in the company has the resource and can really see it.
You're right. And you just have it in your intranet or something like that. So it's also great for intranet projects actually, because then editors don't have to do the copy pasting and all that stuff. They're way faster.
Yeah.
But you need a Copilot license, of course, which could also be great if you're looking for editors for your intranet. You could say you can be an editor, but you get a Copilot license for that.
Okay.
I think
And
it's
so-
a good Lockmittel. What is it in English? I don't know. It's good
bait.
benefit.
It's bait.
Lockmittel. A bait, yes.
Yeah.
It's another kind of clickbait. How to find citizen developers? You get a Copilot
But I
license.
think even, especially for the SharePoint stuff, I think the $30 a month for the Copilot are really valuable.
Yeah,
It's
I
more
think
because
so too.
this is the point. When I see what people are doing with the chat and whatever, may summarize this one or get me the latest 3 emails, and it's basic stuff. It's what is it called here? Let me.
Wie sagt man denn dazu? Ich glaube, der Fachbegriff ist Gedöns oder sowas ähnliches. Ja? Gedöns.
Genau. It's Gedöns. So, but now with the agent SharePoint, you can really dig deeper into something, really get to the possibilities and the abilities of generative Copilot, what he really can do to collect knowledge and prepare it for you. I think that's the next step here.
I think the next step for the page creation process is to use flexible layouts. So you know the flexible layouts?
Yeah.
In SharePoint, I love them. They are so great. You can overlay images and overlay the background with images. You can do a lot of stuff that's looking really great. So you get something like a WordPress feeling when you're in SharePoint after you use flexible layouts. And to me, it would be awesome if when if you are, when you're creating with Copilot a new page or news, that you use flexible layouts and do also creative stuff. But I think we have to wait a little bit for that.
So, I look at the clock, we have 4 minutes more.
Oh.
Yeah, we have talked about it. Very interesting to talk to you with on SharePoint and on other things. I think it's really worth to look into that again and see what you find for information for your company. Then you can really.
And I must say again, for the whole Global AI Bootcamp here, you can see that AI is still getting more and more practical. People want things that actually work. One part of it is, of course, is you can ask questions, you can chat with some bots, and actually, and I think in some case, it was made clear that the agent is mostly is something that does things autonomously.
Yeah.
It starts automatically. It can be triggered, and it does something by itself. And this is, of course, everywhere in the industry now. It's a high interest, and here today it was also very, very high interest.
Yeah.
And I had this presentation of Mark Logas where he actually showed several agents working together as a development team, like with a development lead and of course a programmer, and then someone who does the documentations, and they were all individual agents.
Wow.
And he was just prompting one software that he wanted to have, and all these agents went off and started programming and correcting each other and so on. And he actually showed that live, and a lot of people in the room were able to follow that. You can download that from GitHub from Mark Logas. And then these agents, I mean, it was all basically prompt based on the console, but you can actually see those agents talking to each other. And he says, well, sometimes when they have a good day, it's 15 minutes. Sometimes when they have a bad day, it can take to an hour.
Yeah.
And if you have a complicated software, and if the quality check is very strict, it can take a long time. But you can see these advanced agents are actually being programmed now, and young people are learning how to do this. And I learned that there are several frameworks that build autonomous agents that communicate with each other, no matter where the agents come from. Yeah. And I think, whoa, that's amazing.
I was in a session from Christian Weyer, and it was called Semantic AI Language and Embedding Models Hand in Hand. And it was a brief overview about this stuff, about the models, and he showed everything what he's doing with the Semantic AI based on local installation of open source models and whatever.
You must have loved that.
Yeah, it was really great. Really great how deep it was going. So, it was really cool stuff to do it locally on your site. And I think with the models you have right now, and the power of the models, it's quite an alternative for high security stuff or things you really want to make local. So definitely worth that.
Yeah. And you had Wi-Fi problems, and he doesn't care. He has it all locally.
Okay, Tanya, thank you very much for taking the time. It was great to talk to you. Marcos, always a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for your watching. Definitely worth to go to the Code Academy. Code
University.
Code University in Berlin, Köln, Donaustraße.
Yeah, and the website is code.berlin.
Nice.
And it's completely new. I talked to the president today and said, yes, yesterday we launched the website. So definitely take a look at that. It's a nice location. And thank you. And until the next time, Marcos.
See you then.
Thank you. See you then.